Hey gang, it's your buddy Plaid here, back with another episode of Homebrew Tasting. This is where, I get 2 or 3 things I've brewed, ready to try, do a little video so you can kind of see the end product when I brew some of these things. So today we have 3 things to try, 2 beers, and then one is from the Will It Ferment series, the Jilly, that we fermented, Jilly basically making a wine. So 2 beers and wine. All right, let's get this party started. We're going to start off with our brown ale that we made at the start of the fall. I used the Kvike yeast because it was still fairly hot out here in Vegas in the time, and I utilized that yeast because it allowed me to ferment at warmer temperatures. Real quick on the recipe, our projected original gravity was 1056. We came in at 1052, just shade low. Our final gravity was projected at 1014. We came in at 1016. So even though the numbers don't seem really off, we did miss our ABV a little bit. We were projected at 5.5 and we came out around 4.75. So we're a little low. I think I've talked about this in one of my last 1 gallon brewing videos. Part of the issue that, and I'm realizing this now, is when I switched us to the brew in the bag method, because it is an easier way to brew, it does cut down on efficiency. So we kind of lose, a tenth or, a couple of tenths off the ABV. But, most people, if you're at 5.2 or 5.0, kind of, doesn't matter too much. That being said, I'm working to find some more brew in the bag recipes, or making some adjustments, or just not ordering. Those kind of the 3 options. But anyway, that's the brown ale. Let's go ahead and give her a try. All right, nice little pop. Sounds like the carbonation was all right. All right, not much of a head, but a little bit of head. Brown ales aren't known for, these darker beers aren't generally big on the carbonation end, so not worried about that too much. Just get a nice dark malty nose. These style of beers, the hops aren't real present. Let's give her a try. That's pretty nice. Kind of straightforward. Sweetness up front, hits the front of your tongue. The darker notes kind of come in a little bit later. It's not, though, the full espresso coffee kind of thing that we may see in the American Stout. These are more just really like a really dark toast. If you really kind of crank up the toaster, those dark toasted notes, but we haven't got to the burnt notes. But overall, real nice. At 4.75, this is nice and drinkable, kind of a pub style beer. To me, has a little more body than, let's say, a classic brown ale like a Newcastle, though. It's a little bit darker, a little bit more bodied. And we've talked about, I've talked about on the channel before, that Newcastle for a long time used coloring to get that color. Now they've kind of changed the malt bill. Now Heineken has the product, but anyway, similar vein, just a little darker than a brown ale, but overall came out pretty nice. I like the beer. And this is a great style, again, for those at home that want to start getting into darker beers, but don't necessarily, want something just pitch black or dark. All right, our next beer we brewed this back in October, was the American Stout. Our projected gravity came in at 1050. We actually hit that mark. Our projected final gravity is 1014. We missed by just a couple of points, 1012. So our projected ABV was 5. We only came in again at 4.75. So we're just off a little bit. Just off a little bit, but not too much. All right, let's rotate here. All right, so we got a little hiss, so still have some dark carbonation. All right, just a shade darker carbonation, not quite as carbonated as our brown ale. Here, I get a little more of those astringent nose. I start getting that espresso, the dark chocolate even on the nose. I tell the difference between the brown ale. It still has more of those notes on the taste, but not as much as the nose. The nose was a decent difference from the brown ale. On the flavor-wise, a little bit drying. If you get those kind of espresso astringent notes, sometimes on beer, it does dry it out a little bit. This has a hint of that, but just a hint. Now I go back in for a second sip. It probably is a little drier than that brown ale. The malt sweetness does not hit you up front quite as bit. Nice executed. This doesn't hit me like a true dry Irish stout like a Guinness, but we're also not into milk stouts or sweet stouts or anything. I think we did all right with it. That's probably the first stout I've brewed in a long time. So I think we did all right with that. I think out of the two, I do like the brown ale better so far. Also on the American Stout, one note, I did switch yeast by this. We're using, I believe it was the Saf Ale US05. So that could be some of it too, even though the Saf Ale US05 is pretty good, generic ale strain. Maybe it's time to tweak the yeast a little bit, maybe more beer specific. I do the Saf Ale just because it's easier for everybody out there. It's one of the more popular yeast strains, and it's also something you can find fairly easily. I know every homebrew shop would have it, where if you get into the specialty yeast strains, they may or may not have some of them. All right, so lastly is one that I'm really interested in. It's our, go ahead and move this. It was the wine, basically, that we made out of grape jelly or grape jam is what it said on the label. It was part of our Will It Ferment series, where I just try to ferment different things, see if we can make alcohol out of them. And this time I went with grape. On the canister it said grape jam, but jam, jelly, preserves, all should still work. We went with a Welch's grape jam. It was a 30-ounce container, so almost 2 pounds. And our original gravity on that was 1060, so we had a chance to get some higher alcohol. After 1 week, and when I do the Will It Ferment series, I let things ferment for 1 week. And by what week, we'll see at least if it ferments, produces alcohol, what have you. On our first gravity reading, we came out 1025, so 4.6% alcohol by volume, which is not too bad. But I decided, because I did like the taste, it looked like it had potential to go somewhere. So I let it go another week, and we got down to 1020, which brought us up to 5.25%. And I've let this sit for a little bit, and I'm hoping to see how this flesh out, because again, I remember at the time tasting like, wow, that wasn't too bad. We might have to try this again. So let's try our basically wine we made from grape jelly. All right, I get a nice, I don't know what to call that, maroonish kind of color. That just smells like grape juice. It really, and I don't even get like a yeasty smell. Sometimes when I've done this fermentation with, juices where you'll get the yeast smell, but I'm not really picking up much of that. Let's go in. That's very drinkable. That really, at 5.25%, the alcohol doesn't quite stick out like if you're drinking a regular. Let's say some of the American-made Vitis Lambrusco grapes, your things like your Manischewitz and your Concord grape wines, from like Parmesan and stuff like that. They're generally a little bit lower in ABV. You're gonna find around 10, maybe 11, where the classic kind of California-made wines, French wines, you could get up to 14, 15%. Those you obviously will notice the alcohol in there, but at 5.25%, this does not. This could really sneak up on you. Nice, real simple grape flavor. This is not complex at all, but just very simple, goes down really easy. This could be a really fun, thing to play around with is grape jellies. Maybe do a strawberry grape strawberry combo or whatever. But this turned out pretty nice. All right, gang. Well, I hope you like this video, and I'll leave links down below for each one of the videos where I made that if you're interested in making those. Like I said, I hope you like this video. If you do, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for videos, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.